For our 6th episode of Ride Buddies, the stars magically aligned and we got to enjoy a rare in real life sit down between two of ultracycling's greats, Lael Wilcox and Kait Boyle. Despite months of recent travel, they both just so happened to be in Tucson at the same time. So we decided to hit the record button. For those of you who don't know, Kait is a world champion and record-holding ultra-endurance mountain biker whose obsession with finding the biggest, best riding has taken her to 5 continents. When not chasing wins or setting new records, she combines her passion for bikepacking and connecting people to the landscapes that inspire her through Bikepacking Roots, a nonprofit she co-founded dedicated to serving its thousands of members and the greater bikepacking community as well. She also happens to be a Ride with GPS ambassador, so we know her well and love her dearly. On the other end of the couch is someone Kait has connected with time and time again over the years. Simply put, she's a total badass. Hailing from Anchorage, Alaska, Lael fell into ultra racing on a whim when she entered and won the 400-mile Fireweed bike race on a borrowed bike. In the years that followed, Lael has spent an unimaginable and borderline freakish amount of miles and hours in the saddle. She set a record at the Tour Divide, became the first woman ever to win the Trans Am bike race, and co-designed the Baja Divide route. She has ridden and set blistering times for just about every major endurance bike event there is, all with that iconic smile pasted across her permanently cheery face. In this conversation, the two talk about witnessing the devastation of climate change, cringe over Kait's recent hydration woes on the AZT, check it out on Instagram, it is gnarly. They bond over bushwhacking through countless races and dissect the nuances of deciding when it's time to bow out. It's the type of conversation only these two could have, so saddle up and tune in. You're in for a great ride.
It's so true. When do we get to talk in person these days?
I know.
Instead of at the screen. Oh yeah, Hank wave.
Cool. Well, yeah,
where did you just come from and when did you get home?
I got home 2 days ago. And I was just in the last leg of the trip was in Switzerland, but we spent the past 2 months in Europe.
Whoa.
So first in Iceland, then riding the Trino Nice Rally, Italy to France.
Wow.
And
How far is
then
that?
700K.
Oh,
It was
cool.
Women's Bikepacking Challenge.
Oh my God. Oh, so you were like rode that whole thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. The route's fantastic. And we're going to do a couple more next year. And so this format's like everybody start together and then you set like a goal date to finish.
Okay.
Self-supported, but it's not a race. And it's like enough time that you could have like big touring days.
Whoa, cool.
And then you like
And, like, it's a
leapfrog
mass
one another.
start kind of.
Exactly.
Oh,
and then it
cool.
was all women.
But it's not a race.
But it's not
like
a race.
do
And
it
there's
together.
there's no like incentive to go any faster. It's just, try to be done by the finisher's party.
Whoa. That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah. So you have like
Cool.
a dinner at first, get to
Yeah.
meet like some people or see some people, meet some new people. And then you're like, okay, let's at 8 a.m. we'll all start. And then, and then we had like a big WhatsApp group text. So people could be like, oh, I'm camping here. Oh, this
cool.
place has good coffee.
That's
and especially like in
amazing.
Europe, it's like easy.
Totally. There's good coffee everywhere.
Like pictures of pastries, people eating burgers,
Uh-huh.
it was like, oh, this is the good
Cool.
life. But then it had like 10 mountain passes. So it's like hard.
And was it on paved road or dirt and paved?
Mixed dirt and pavement.
Okay. And you were in Switzerland earlier in the year too for the
Hope 1000,
yeah.
which I really want you to race too.
I really want to do that.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, you should.
Is there
Really
snow
would love
that
it.
time of year?
No. This year there was a little bit still left. It was like solstice time.
Oh,
And then it's not that high, it's like 6,000 feet. So
yeah.
the Alps still have like a little bit, but it was mostly gone, but it rained a ton. It was like horrendous conditions.
Oh my God. The Colorado Trail Race was that way this year too.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Rue and I were hiking just after and it was like wildflowers and mushrooms and
it was amazing in Colorado this year, which you experienced the smoke on Tour Divide, like where I live the summer was so dry and smoky. It was really hard.
Was it like that for the whole summer?
Pretty much like July and August. It was that way. And yeah, it was brutal. It was like changed a lot of my plans because this air was just so bad.
It's
in places.
devastating.
So I just kept changing where I was going and ended up going down to Colorado twice because it was so good down there.
And it was fine.
Yeah. when I was there. And they had a really wet
Oh,
year.
that's so sad though, because your season's already so short.
I know.
Yeah. Oh, that's so shitty.
It
Like,
is. Yeah, climate change. It's really fucking some things up.
devastating to experience.
Totally.
Like I had no idea how bad it could actually be,
Mhm.
where it looks like the world's ending. It's
Yeah,
like-
I mean, you
like
rode
it's
through it in the
just
divide.
white. Like
Yeah.
you can't,
You
mountains
can't
right in
see
front of your
anything.
face and you can't see it. And then like the first day I was like, oh wow, that's such a cool sunset. It's like glowing hot
Right.
pink orange. And then by like the third day I was like,
This is
oh,
horrible.
this is really horrible.
Yeah.
Like it's like some apocalyptic movie.
Totally.
It's so bad. And then you're like, I can't believe I ever complained about any bad weather in the past.
Totally. Yeah,
Like I'd take anything
bad
over
weather.
this because you can
Totally.
actually be outside versus like
Mhm.
you really can't go outside because it's terrible for your health.
Totally.
I
That's so true.
I just had no idea it'd be that bad. And then seeing
Mhm.
people that like live there and
Oh, I
don't
know.
leave, they can't go outside.
Yeah. No, there was a time, I think at the end of August, when the Caldor fire in Tahoe was really bad.
Mhm,
They had the worst air quality in the world.
mhm.
And there are like kids not going to school. Like I grew up with snow days, and now they're having smoke days.
I know,
You
and
know,
that's
it's so
super
tragic.
sad though, because
Yeah.
that's like, yeah, like a snow day was like a celebration.
I know.
And smoke day is like trapped.
Stay inside. Don't go outside.
Yeah.
It's gotta
Oh,
be brutal. And on top of a pandemic when they were already like isolated.
we were lucky
yeah.
to like grow up with good air and
Snow days.
like some level of like normalcy.
Yeah.
Like you go to school and
I know.
you have friends and
Yeah.
you have a teacher.
You
don't just
never
talk
go
to
on
a
Zoom.
screen.
I don't think Zoom exists. Zoom didn't exist.
No.
The internet didn't really for a while. But
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, that's
Yeah.
a little bright ray of sunshine.
Yeah, but
No, it's reality though.
I know.
And then
It's so true. And I mean, like, I just started the Arizona Trail Race,
Hmm.
which was so interesting.
Oh yeah, I
'Cause,
really.
I mean, you know
actually,
that-
I really want to hear about this.
Yeah. Well, you've ridden the trail in the fall.
Yeah, and it's always overgrown.
It's always overgrown. I knew that. I actually started the Arizona Trail Race, an ITT once in the fall.
Uh-huh.
And in the Canellos, I crashed in a rut that was covered by grass and hit my head and like
Oh
had a
my
headache.
God.
And I was like, well, that's over. And so like I knew this year when they moved the race to the fall, that it'd be interesting and a gamble.
Yeah.
But I had no idea that it could be so bad. Like it was so interesting because the first 10 or 15 miles were fine. It was like normal Canellos. Like you just occasionally would brush against some catclaw. And then once you cross Canelo Pass Road,
Uh-huh.
there was just no trail for like 15 miles. Like you'd go through all the old stuff and it was just like bushwhacking through amaranth and catclaw. And then we turned onto the section we rode this spring, the new AZT,
Yeah.
which was like 2 foot wide, brand new dirt
Total
trail,
butter.
like
Yeah.
flowy, fast Arizona
Yeah.
trail. And there's no dirt. Like I was
Really?
just riding from flagging tape to flagging tape dangling from the trees over grass
Oh.
and over the amaranth stuff, which is apparently I'm allergic to. And yeah, it was crazy. Like I couldn't believe that this brand new trail was just gone.
Wow.
And then right a few miles from the end, suddenly it was back, and the Arizona Trail Association had been out this
Oh
fall
my God.
working on it again.
Bless them.
Totally.
I mean, it's hard enough even after it's like in the best possible condition.
Totally.
It's like always hard.
It's always
and then
hard.
when you're like bushwhacking through cactus, you're like, this is some version of hell. And you're like, I signed up to do this for free.
Totally. And for me, like I was riding along through this and I was like thinking about when I was in the hospital from that car accident and thinking about how hard I've worked in the last 3 years. And I was like,
And then you're
this is
wasting
not
it
what
on
I
that.
worked on for.
Yeah.
Like what I worked to come back to is like ride my bike and be challenged like physically and mentally by the like trying to be present and going fast
Yeah.
and efficiently and like having that kind of flow experience of ultra racing. And I found myself just like with my legs stinging and burning from this allergic reaction, and then
I saw
The
that
creek-
photo of that green water.
Oh my
you
God.
drank, and I was
So-
like, "Boo!" And I'm like pretty cool with
Totally.
bad
No,
water.
totally.
And I was like, "Boo!"
Yeah, no, I'm like,
Just like,
am fine with bad water.
reaches
Like cow
through.
shit is fine. Like dead bird in water is fine. And this was like brown tank Arizona water, you know, the color of mud, that's fine. And this was like this like toxic color.
it was like brighter than pea soup. It was
It
like
was crazy.
like glowing.
And
You
I like
drank that? Did you throw up?
I got so nauseous. I'm not a thrower upper. This is not a puker, but it was at the tank on the Hog Canyon Road that we stopped at in the spring, and like I really needed water because the tank before that I was going to get water out of was dry, which was also so strange because there's water everywhere this year.
Yeah.
And this one spot was dry. And so and so I stopped at those tanks, and I'd been more or less out of water for 2 hours. I was about to say days, but it was only 2 hours. And coming from Idaho, where it's been snowing like 85 degrees that day, it was the first day over 70 degrees I've ridden in like 2 months. And so I was already just like, oh my God, it is really hot for me. And I got to that tank and I looked in the first one, it was dry. And then I climbed up this like pallet ladder and peered into the next one. It was just like, oh! That is the water. And I just thought about it for a second. I was like, it's going to be another hour of climbing on this self-facing hill up to Gardner Canyon. And like, I need to drink something. Like I haven't been able to eat because I've been so thirsty.
If you don't have water, you can't eat.
No.
You can't get anything
You
down.
can't.
And you just look at your food and you're like, nope.
Yeah, totally. That's what it was
not
happening. It's
eating
like,
that.
can't eat. And so I actually had a filter with me, which I had never carried before.
That's cool.
But it was this 1 extra liter of capacity way of having capacity. So I was like, well, I'm going to filter
cool.
this and drink it and trust that at least I won't die, but it's still so, it like had this smell that water shouldn't have.
I'm like nauseous and I didn't even do it.
Totally. So I drank it, and I ate some food, and then I pedaled up to Gardner Canyon and got more water. So
I've never been to that group start, the race.
Yeah.
I've only done like a time trial in the fall and then time trial on the 300 in the spring. And I did that because I couldn't do the full thing because I had to like go back to Alaska before the snow was going to melt in the north. And then I was like, oh, I guess I could do a time trial of the 300. Yeah. And then I looked at your record and I was like, ooh, I was like, I don't think I could do that. And I was like, well, I'm just going to try.
You went so fast.
Well, I tried super hard. I had like this huge stump jumper. It was like the bike without anything on it. I think weighed like 36 pounds. I mean, it was like enduro.
Yeah.
2.6-inch tires.
That must feel so good for so much of that trail.
Yeah, it's awesome. But by the end of it, like the most sore I was my arms and my shoulders. I was just like, I couldn't like move my arms just from pushing.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And platform pedals and running shoes. And I was like, I can't sleep because there's no way I'll even get close if I sleep. Yeah. I closed my eyes for 8 minutes.
Wow.
For 51 hours or whatever it ended up being.
Yeah, mine, I slept for 20 and I did it.
And then I haven't done anything similar to that since.
Really?
Yeah, because that's like such a long time to not sleep.
But that's so crazy to me because like in my mind, 2 days without sleeping is way easier than like a week or 2 weeks with like 3 or 4 hours.
Well, I just dread the not sleeping though.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, 4 hours, like I get like a new day.
Okay. But what about the waking up and getting going part? Because like I've done a couple races where you like sleep for a couple hours and you wake up and you feel horrible.
Right. Because your body's just like
it's shut down.
Like your knees are like
you feel like
you're like, all right, can I move? And you're like, you can't
like you feel like those cartoons where like zombies come out of the dead and they're like breaking out of like broken like stiff joints and like things are cracking and exploding. Like that's how I feel.
But it's you like out of the bivvy.
Yeah.
Like
totally. It's still dark.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah. Especially if it's like raining. and
Yeah.
cold.
Oh.
Then you're like, fuck, that's what I have to go out to in the dark. That's what the Hope 1000 was like this year.
I don't think I'd
Except
get up.
that,
You're like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm just
but-
gonna sleep.
yeah, it's easier if there's less darkness.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Totally.
like all ultras are easier if there's less darkness because you don't get
Yeah.
as tired
Yeah.
and you don't like have to ride through the night
Totally.
for so long.
Yeah, the like graveyard hours are fewer.
Right. Yeah.
Or like sunrise is closer to them.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Even if it's a short sleep, I just like that's like the one reward you get is
Yeah.
like a little bit of sleep.
Okay.
And that feeling of like being so tired and just like kind of melting into the ground. You're like,
Yeah.
wow. And then you're like, I'm still outside. You
Yeah.
know? But
Yeah.
yeah, you do swell up though, like
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, in my body, or at least what I've experienced with the few races I've done with some sleep, is that my temperature regulation just gets so messed up and I
So
start like
bad.
sweating and shivering at the same time. And then
Yeah.
it's so hard to like start on some sort of level of like just feeling like a human.
Yeah.
Because
Well, and like to fall asleep too. You know, I feel
Yeah.
like my heart rate's been like higher than it used to be. So then to like actually like shut down, that's like started meditating when I'm sleeping or
Yeah.
trying to sleep. Cause you know, you
Right.
need it
Totally.
if the race is going to be like so long that you can't get in
Right.
that hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point of as far as like shorter, then you could just kind of push through.
Yeah.
2 nights without sleep though. Oh. Like one night without sleep, I'm like, whatever.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. The second night's hard. I think I need the nap. But that is like so short. You know, you can just like keep everything on, helmet, shoes, maybe add like a
Yeah.
wind jacket and just lay down and fall asleep or meditate and then wake up and like keep
Yeah.
going.
And then,
like,
then it
you're-
makes such a big difference.
yeah, and
You're
like nothing's
oh,
shut down yet.
I can see again.
Right, totally. It's really powerful, the nap.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so with the Arizona Trail race for me this year, it's just made me think a lot about like what motivates me to race ultras and to like push for that long and like what is worth it and then what is not. And so I think when you're, and I just often think about you and how amazing you are at ultra racing over such long distances and short ultra distances, like what motivates you? Because I think, I mean, am I right that the Tour Divide was the
first
Tour
long
Divide?
one I did. Yep. Yeah.
Well, in the Tour Divide, and maybe the Arizona Trail, like you
Oh,
finished
yeah.
only like every race that I know of, except for maybe a small handful. Like
That's true.
this
And those
year,
two,
and
no.
yeah. And so
Yeah.
like for
And
you, I
those are
feel
the
like,
only ones I haven't finished. That's right.
Totally.
Yeah.
and so that's a lot of races that you've finished, like a lot, and not just number of races, but also miles of like of time of being in that place of suffering. And so I guess for you, what I'm wondering is like, what is worth it to you and when is it not worth it to you?
I think like with a lot of those things, I'm like, well, at some point I thought this was a good idea. So I should just do it. Because you like get excited about something and you look at maps, you make plans,
Totally.
and then like, you know, 2-3 days into your ride, you're like, fuck, this is terrible.
Yeah.
Why did I ever think I
Right.
should do this?
It's always that.
and then I'm like, well, what am I gonna do? Just quit?
Right.
You know, and then it takes like a lot for me to actually, because I hate quitting so much.
Yeah.
That I'm like,
It feels really shitty.
It's devastating.
Yeah.
You're like, especially if it's like, because it's like, it's sometimes not really like there's something that comes up that you cannot overcome. Like this year with the wildfires, it's like, and then that's like, yeah, it sucks to quit my ride, but then it's like to see that what the world looks like, you're like, this is just deeply sad.
Totally.
And so then it's like, and then that's so kind of overwhelming, like what that actually means. You're like, oh, the world is shitty.
Yeah.
And yeah, my bike ride doesn't matter, but now we might not have the freedom to ride our bikes in these beautiful places, in these places that I want everybody to get to see somehow. And you're like, and then you feel like you're just like kind of dropping into this well of negativity. Because so many people especially this past year have been like, everybody's become like hypercritical of like so many different things. And then because I don't know, everybody's having a hard time. So you want something to like blame or something to like take out your aggression on. So then you're like, well, you're screwing up because of this, or you're not good enough because of this. And then it's like, I take that stuff really personally.
Yeah.
And then at some point you're just like, well, do they just want me to give up?
Right.
Should I just like not do anything? And it's like, that's like the, then you feel like, and so I guess maybe like ultra quitting is kind of like that, like you're just like letting in, which it shouldn't be.
Right.
Because it should be like, this is my choice. I should do what I want with my life.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm like, well, I'm still out here. I still want to win. Because then it's like, well, what's everybody else doing?
Yeah.
Like they're going through something hard too, or, and then also like, maybe tomorrow will be better.
Yeah. No, there is always that.
Because it usually is.
Somehow. Yeah.
But, sometimes then you're like, when you look at it, you're like, tomorrow's definitely not going to be better.
Yeah.
That's like when you have to, that's like the time to be like, this is it. Totally. There's no way tomorrow's going to be better.
Yep. Yeah. I think that's, for me, one of the big distinctions, like, is this going to be a wave that you can ride,
right?
Or is this like actually just a downhill trajectory into like compromising my health or
exactly
something?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
like and then
hard to undo.
Health is precious.
Totally.
And we can actually do things that you can't undo.
Oh yeah.
And
like smoking a pack of cigarettes of air, but in wildfire.
Yeah. While you're like pushing your physical limits.
Yeah.
And then you actually have like consequences for that.
Totally.
So then it's like, well, really, like at the end of it, I want to ride my bike every single day.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, race,
and when I'm
race, whatever.
Yeah.
Like that stuff could all go out the window, but I do want to ride like every day. And then if I actually saw like my decisions ahead of me, like, oh, I could finish this ultra race, or I could keep riding when I'm 80, be like, definitely 80.
Totally.
So, because it's like, who cares? The racing, it's cool. It's like not the
and it's so temporary
thing.
Like yeah, like the things that you get to take away from ultra racing are like, there's some really valuable things, and a lot of it's fleeting, like, but
it still should be fun and exciting.
Yeah.
And if it's not, then there's like no point in doing it because it's too hard.
Yeah. And like hard, I think, in a way that like you have to, how do I say this? Like something I think about is like, we only have so much energy in our life. And so like an ultra is like a huge investment in energy. And then you have to like rebuild it afterwards, and there's like a pretty big hole.
Yeah. I'm just taking years off my life.
Well, so I think that there's just like something I think about is just like, is this worth the energy that I'm going to expend on it? Or like, should I take this energy that I have and like put it towards something else right now?
Totally.
And I think that was part of this effort right now. Is like, this is not where I want to be. This is not where I want to be.
Well, and sometimes it's super clear.
Right.
You have like a moment of clarity where you're like, this is not happening. And then you just gotta go with that.
Yeah.
Like I felt like that on the Tour Divide this summer. I was riding through Butte and it was just like white air. Like I couldn't see the mountains that I was riding next to. And I was just like, and my lungs were just like shutting down. It felt like a little fire happening.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then it was just like clear as day. I was like, this is not happening. I was like, I have to quit. And I was just riding along crying.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I was crying and riding a lot on Thursday.
You're just like riding along because you're like, well, I still have to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to just stop and cry.
No,
you're like, it's better to keep moving and just cry.
Yeah. That's true.
And then you're sucks.
Like, yeah, it really does. Because then you're like, I'm just out here by myself and I just want this to be like fun and rewarding and inspiring or something, or like challenging in the good way.
And it's
not. And you're not. And you're like, why?
It's such a disappointment. It's like, it's okay, but it's super disappointing no matter how that happens, how you get to that thing, because you've already put so much into like being there.
Totally. And a lot of people have too. And I like, that's something that I processed a lot. It's just like, I don't want to let people down. But
then even like the ups or the downs or whatever you end up doing out there, like that also took me a while to come to terms with, like, nobody's going to care as much as you do.
Totally.
Like, even if it, like, you went through absolute hell, but you had a good result. And then everyone's like, you can't even like accept when people are like, wow, that was amazing. Because you feel like, Like
Yeah.
you feel, because you're just like, it's like your blood and sweat and life out there, you know. Like I
Mhm.
used to just like sell the bikes I raced on. 'Cause it's
Yeah.
like, I don't want to look
They
at
don't-
that. I
Oh,
hate
that's
it.
hilarious. Oh my God.
And people are like, aren't you attached to them? I'm like, no, they're like
Yeah.
torture devices.
Oh my God.
But
Wow.
you know, it's a weird thing. But then you're like, well, we're doing it because we want to, for whatever reason. And there are so many like beautiful, positive moments, and
Yeah.
so
Oh,
much like
absolutely.
so many cool experiences. I guess it's just like a year worth of experiences in like, you know,
Yeah.
2 days.
Yeah, you really experience, at least I really experienced just like the whole continuum and spectrum of like human emotion.
Yeah.
You
What do you
know?
think about? Or do you,
That's a good question.
are you like,
I mean,
of-
I think that I definitely have, I mean, I have a mind that just like very much goes into the stream of consciousness, like
yeah,
not easy to follow, like not logical track. But I think that one of the things that I love about ultra racing is that I actually find myself thinking less than a lot of day-to-day life. And I just find myself like very much like content with just my pedals moving and like thinking about the trail in front of me. And that's one of the reasons I love single track racing, like
yeah.
because I think that I don't know what I would think about on a road.
I think that's part of why I don't love single track racing, because I
Oh.
like to space out, and
Whoa,
then you
yeah.
can't.
Yeah.
You actually have to like look.
Don't know totally. But that's what I love is like I focus on what I'm riding, and it's just like
Yeah,
me and my bike and my
yeah,
body and my breath. And
yeah.
then sometimes I get to look up and like I think about where I am and where I'm
Yeah,
going.
you
and,
see like a
the
beautiful
whole
view
connection
and
of
you're
the
like,
landscape. Yeah, totally.
those moments are so
Yeah.
good too,
Yeah.
though. No, I totally get you with that though. Like you actually don't have to make as many decisions,
Mhm.
because you're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just doing this thing.
Yeah. And the things you think about are pretty simple, like should I eat? Should I drink?
Yeah.
Do I need to do anything like for my body or
Or
my
your
bike?
like body tells you.
Am I like in the right place? Because in the other thing
Mm.
with like the single track stuff, and I'm sure there were stuff too, is like you have to navigate, and so you're focused on like where
Yeah.
you're going.
Have you ever gone really off route?
Not racing. Yeah, not really racing. I mean, I guess not in an ultra, but this I went and did the Margie Jessic race, the 100-mile race,
How
and
was
it's like
it?
it's so cool.
Really?
It's really, really amazing trail in the Midwest in Michigan, the Upper Peninsula, the UP.
Yeah, everybody says it's really cool there.
It's really cool, and because it's in the hardwood forest, there's single track that just like it's like a spaghetti bowl of just like turns and twists and looping back and forth on itself. And early in the race, me and this big group of guys got completely lost and completely turned around. And it was like the trails are so close together that you can't tell where you need to go because there's so many trails between you and where
too many
like,
options.
yeah, there's like too many options and
it's
it's
not
so
marked
disorienting.
at all.
Barely. But yeah, it was really interesting. So we were lost for like 20 minutes,
Huh.
which was really interesting. And it was
Like
early
a group
enough in the
too.
race, yeah, that then we got back on the course, and then we were like in the back half of the race with all these other people.
Oh gosh.
And so it was like being at the start again of then like trying to pass on single track and like everyone riding their different rides, but it was fun. It was wild.
Yeah,
you know,
you're
'cause
like,
we're
whatever. What am I
Like,
gonna do about it?
right. Totally.
Like it happened.
Yeah. Yep. Keep going. So
Yeah, I've heard that's a cool race.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
And it's really hard. It's I think probably the slowest 100-mile race that
really.
yeah.
Huh.
I mean, like no woman has finished in under 12 hours.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's a goal.
Yeah, that is a goal. I
Yeah.
want to do that.
I'd love to
So-
see it. I can't do it. I'm not
I think
good at technical
it's
riding.
really interesting. It's so different from technical riding here too, because it's like all
Okay.
roots. and-
Oh, that's so scary.
Yeah.
Because they're like slippery.
They are.
But you know, people are specialists at that.
Yeah. I think when that's what you grow up riding on, it's probably similar to like riding on loose rock here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. That was cool. But something else so you just got back from like a couple months in Europe. And before that, I think you were doing a lot of different things here. Like you started the Tour Divide and
I did a pipeline time trial in
yeah,
Alaska.
in Alaska.
and
something in Oregon.
yeah, I did Oregon.
But you were
Outback,
back in
FKT,
Europe in between that time.
went to the Hope 1000, did a little trip in France.
Yeah.
I think because like with COVID, everything like travel was shut down.
Right.
And then I was like, okay, I've just got like a huge list of possibles.
Totally.
And then most of them happened.
That's amazing. And I feel like when I look around at my other friends that are like professional cyclists, it's been similar, like, and just people in general, like post-COVID's like, do as much as possible.
Like, you don't know when it's gonna like close down.
Yeah.
Again.
And like, there's, I think, a sense of like making up for lost time or like pressure to like get out and get back at it. And so I'm wondering, like, now that you're home, are you tired?
Yeah. I think I'm pretty cracked and I'm super jet lagged.
Yeah.
I've been waking up at like 3 a.m. But then that's actually great because I can like do computer work. And then I go for a run or a ride before the sun comes up. And then I go to bed at like 6.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's maybe, and my parents are in town.
Oh, cool.
They just drove their like new camper van down from Alaska.
Whoa.
So
that's
they're
amazing.
here
That's
until
a long drive.
Wednesday. Well, they shipped it to Bellingham.
Oh, okay.
And then drove it from there.
Wow.
But it's like super old. It's
Yeah.
like they bought it from a friend, the transmission's shot.
Whoa.
So they're camped at Catalina State Park.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. So they're here, and then I'm gonna actually go house shopping
Whoa.
this afternoon.
That's exciting.
Right after this.
Because last time we were together in person, it was here.
Yeah.
And we had gone bikepacking and you were about to leave Tucson for the whole summer. And you were talking about wanting to buy a house.
Yeah. So
Cool.
going to look today, and I'm super excited about that.
That's even more grown up than renting an Airbnb for the first time.
Don't
That's
worry,
awesome.
I still just rent a room.
Yeah.
35.
Same. Yeah.
But I don't know.
I'm 34.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
We're doing it.
Yep.
I know.
That's exciting though.
Old. Yeah. So looking.
So why Tucson?
I love it here. Well, I really love Mount Lemon.
Yeah.
And the winter weather is so good, and
Yeah.
it's pretty low key, and I don't drive, and there are bike paths and trails everywhere, and
enticing.
so that's easy. It's pretty inexpensive. And I like all the mountains all around too.
And it's pretty ideal in the winter. So like for you, is winter kind of like a time to recharge by being in one place?
Yeah,
more?
it should be.
Yeah.
You know, I might do a race in Chile end of November.
Oh, cool.
Across the Andes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
have you been there?
Never.
Oh, it's
have
so
you?
cool. Yeah.
Oh,
It's awesome.
really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where does it start?
I have to look up the route again, but it's kind of south.
Okay.
Yeah,
Like
not
in Patagonia?
like not super far south,
Okay.
but kind of there. Like the route hits the coast.
Mhm.
It looks so beautiful, but it's
Cool.
not super high elevation, which is
Yeah.
good
Mhm.
because then I don't have to acclimate quite as much.
Yeah.
I used to always struggle with breathing, so
Yeah.
that's kind of my thing. But
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe that'll happen, but if it doesn't, that's fine too. Rue's super burned out,
Mhm.
so yeah, we've been going since early May.
Yeah.
But even
So
it's like,
much
well,
travel.
who doesn't want to go to Chile? You know,
Right.
and then you're like, oh, it'd be so cool. And
Yeah.
so
When is that?
the race is November 28th.
Oh, it's this month.
Yeah.
I was thinking like January or
Yeah,
February.
no, there's another one in January, race around Rwanda,
Oh, yeah, you've been wanting to
that
do
I've been
that.
wanting to do. So hopefully I get to do that early next year. But
Cool.
yeah, these are all like mixed gravel pavement, which is good for me because
Yeah.
I could space out.
Yeah. That's exciting.
They're both like about 1,000K,
Okay.
which is cool
Yeah,
because then it's
that's
not
pretty
like
quick,
super
too, for
long.
you.
And I like that. Yeah, exactly. Then it's like not
NBD.
tons of sleep deprivation.
Right.
You know, it's like
Yeah.
anything that's like under 5 days, I'm like,
Yeah.
that's no big deal.
Cool.
You know? So yeah. So maybe end of this month, but I'm going to Rome Fest next week or this week
Oh,
in
yeah.
Sedona.
Cool.
And then are you going?
I'm not. No, I'm going. We have a film screening on Wednesday in Tempe, and then Will and I are driving home for 1 week. And then I'm flying back down here for the Sedona Mountain Bike Festival, and then
Cool.
going down to Baja.
You are.
Yeah.
Oh,
Going to-
cool.
A friend decided to have a destination wedding in Cabo, and so Will and I are gonna fly to Cabo, take a bus up to oh shit, what's the northern part of the Cape Loop? La Paz.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna bike pack down to the wedding
Oh, cool.
and hang out and do the wedding thing, and then keep bike packing for a couple more days, and then fly home.
Super.
So it's gonna be like short, vacation style.
Oh yeah, that's gonna
bikepacking,
be great.
which I'm really
Yeah,
excited
pack your
about.
party dress.
Or something like that.
Yeah, oh, that'll be the
But,
best.
yeah, I'm so excited
Oh,
for like
that's
sleep on the
so
beach
cool.
and tacos, and bike's just a
And
way to
there's
like
so
make that
much,
happen.
like, space there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'll be good. 'Cause we haven't traveled. I mean, I don't know if anyone has traveled in the way that you have, but I think this year, just like with that, like there's so many possibilities or different options. And for me, like a lot of them just like didn't work out.
Oh.
Mostly like either because of the COVID still, like 24-hour Worlds was canceled because of COVID. A race that I was going to do in Canada, a 5-day stage race, was canceled because of COVID.
Yeah.
And so those were two of my biggest plans. And the wildfire smoke this year, like so much of what I'd planned in the summer was in the northern part of the Western US, because that's where I live. And it's an amazing time of year to be there usually.
Right. It's like
And
the
then
best. Yeah.
everything was just like the air ended up being so bad so many times. Like,
Oh,
and then I
yeah.
changed plans, and then plans would have to change again because of smoke and fires. Like,
Yeah, the West was
really-
all on fire.
yeah. So I'm not tired from like doing so much. I'm more tired from like like plans continuing to change and not working out. So
Yeah,
been
super
really interesting.
frustrating.
So I'm like just excited to go have a trip that's like pretty straightforward and
Yeah.
knock
Yeah.
on wood. But I would imagine that it's pretty straightforward to like pack a few days in Baja.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's
So,
like good weather and
Yeah.
you can sleep outside.
I know.
And, you
I'm
just
really
need
excited for that.
water. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that area, actually, there are more little towns and stuff. So it's
Yeah.
like even that's pretty easy.
Yeah, it seems like it's gonna be pretty easy.
It's
I'm
awesome.
excited. Cool. Well,
Yeah.
thank you for making that route.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Would you ever ride the whole Baja Divide again? Or have you done it too much?
I
by
rode
now?
it like 4 times
Yeah, that's a
in a
lot.
row.
In like a few, not
and then
that
I
long
did
a
an
time.
FKT on it.
Yeah.
And it hurt so bad. It's
Really?
like the most pain I've ever experienced in my
Oh,
life.
why?
I think I had a hardtail
Oh, yeah.
and I had too hard of gearing.
Yeah.
And oh God, I just remember, I like most of the time you forget pain, and this
Yeah.
I remember like pretty vividly, like
Mm.
aching in my knees. Like I had short shorts and like I had a seat pack,
Uh-huh.
and then I didn't even like this, like I was stopped to get water like 5 days into the ride,
Yeah.
and this Mexican guy was like, your legs are bleeding. And
Oh my
I
God.
I looked down and I had like a gaping wound on the
Whoa,
inside
from like
of my,
rubbing
from
on the.
rubbing on the seat pack. And I had seen
Ugh.
blood on my seat pack, but I was like, huh, where's that from?
Yeah.
I was
Oh
so
my God.
kind of out of it because I was in so much pain that I didn't even like and I was like, wow, this is getting to a pretty bad point.
Yeah.
And
That's
I didn't bring
horrible.
a sleeping bag,
Yeah.
and the nights were like freezing.
cold.
So I was just
Ugh.
like shaking on the ground.
Oh.
It took me 11 and a half days. And then
That's a really long time.
it was 1,500 miles.
Yeah.
And then 11 and a half days, and then Pete Basinger came back and beat it by an hour and a half.
Oh my God.
I was like,
Whoa.
he can have it.
Yeah. Totally.
Like that's like
Uh-huh.
that's like a breath.
Totally.
And then
Well,
you're just like,
Yeah.
but the whole point of doing that, the time trial, was that people were like, hey, when are you going to host a race on this? And then someone was like, hey, I'm going to host a race on it. So the idea was like, if you set a time and you say, hey, this route cannot really support like a mass start of 100 people because the resources are too limited. Like there's not enough water.
Right.
It's like these people hardly have water for themselves.
Yeah.
And it's just not like a great race route,
Mhm.
but it's a beautiful route. And it's like, go ride it at whatever pace you want, but
Yeah.
don't like host a race on it. Cause I don't know, there's like some sensitivity to that.
Totally.
Some routes are not great for races, or it's just like, that's,
Yeah.
and some are. So.
No, totally. Yeah, when we made the Western Wildlands route, we've been saying like, please don't race this route. Like we worked really hard to get permission from Navajo Nation
Right.
to route the route through Navajo Nation to get around the Grand Canyon, and
Yeah.
it's the first time that has
Which
happened.
is
And
so cool.
yeah, it's awesome. And like, we just want it to be a really positive experience for the Navajo people to have bikepackers coming across their land.
Have like a good exchange
Yeah.
instead of like
crazy racers who
Yeah.
are like suddenly like
delirious.
and like feeling like delirious, riding at night, needing water, sleeping in random places, and like
Right, exactly. Instead of being like having the time to be more respectful.
totally.
Yeah.
And so that's been our
I'd love
approach
to
with
ride
that
that stretch too. I
It's-
haven't gotten to yet. But
Yeah. It's a really cool route.
Just even like driving through that area, it's like, wow, the land is super cool.
Yeah.
So
It is.
yeah. Have people wanted to race it?
I think, I mean, I don't pay that much attention to Facebook forums because
I stopped looking
Yeah.
at Facebook.
but and so I think people have like just said things like that they want to or that they should be able to, and we've just been asking people or not. So who knows? I mean, maybe someone has like tried to time trial it on their own.
Whatever.
Yeah, there's the Tour Divide for that right now, you know, and like maybe someday we'll be in a place where it can race that route. But
yeah.
But for now, I'm just
there's
like
enough.
people are
Just
riding.
ride it.
Yeah.
Just go ride it. See what it's all about. You
Totally.
know, not everything has to be competitive or
you
know, there's time and place for a lot of different things. So
Totally.
I still want to ride it though.
Yeah.
It'd be cool.
Should we do our rapid fire?
Oh gosh, what do you have?
Okay. Well, this relates to some of the things we've been talking about. Racing or touring on a new route for you?
Touring.
Nice. Do you want a pet?
No.
I don't think we can be friends. Road or mountain bike?
Oh man, that's tough. Can I say gravel bike?
Sure.
Okay, gravel bike.
Okay. What's the worst thing you've ever ate or drank while racing or bikepacking? Just like,
oh man. Oh, there have been some bad things.
Yeah.
There have been some bad on the Trans Am. I went through I think I was going through Wyoming, and I'd always try to get whatever was like in the hot case.
Yeah.
And then because I was like, well, at least it's like real food instead of just candy bar. But there was like, I went into this like Sinclair, and there was like a paper bag stapled shut, and that's all that was in.
What was in it?
And I bought it.
Yeah.
And then I opened it up and
Sounds
just
like it
took
should've
a
been
bite.
free.
And it was like a burger patty with cheese on it, like deep fried into like casing.
Oh my God.
And I ate it. And I had no idea what it was as I was like biting it. And then I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And it's like, if it was the one thing, how long's it been there?
Yeah.
You know? I did like
probably too long to sell.
Baja Divide. I got like burritos from like, they would have them like on the countertops, and it was usually like, oh, that's awesome, like a real burrito instead of like a donut. And then I took like a bite out of one and I just threw it.
Oh my God.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, there have been so many bad food things, but then when you eat something actually good, you're like, oh yeah. You're
Favorite thing to eat?
Ice cream.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That must be one of the great things about the long road races is like you do go through places
or in
like,
Europe
pretty regularly. Yeah, or in Europe.
You're like, oh, bakery every town.
That's amazing.
Piece of cake, good food, high quality food.
Totally.
You're like, oh, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's different. But yeah, you do get depressed about bad food. What's the worst food you've eaten?
Well, this is my own fault, but I was bikepacking in Europe once and had a package of like sliced ham, like for a sandwich, like sandwich ham in my backpack. And it had been against my water bladder as like a way to like stay shaded and maybe cooler. And it just was like in there for enough days that it apparently went bad and I ate it. And then that day pedaling up this pass, I just like, my legs were just getting more and more empty. It was just like a car running out of gas.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, so I just kept eating, being like, I just need more energy. I just need more energy. And my stomach was just getting more and more bloated. And then we got down to Val d'Isere and we pulled into town and I just puked all over the place, like right in the middle of town. And
you're not a puker.
I'm not a puker. And I had given myself food poisoning from that. So that was probably the worst thing that I've eaten was just bad ham that led to food poisoning.
Oh God. Can
But
you
that's
eat
my own
ham
fault.
now?
I can now, which is really surprising, but it's been a while. That was
Yeah,
like 6 or
I had
7
to
years
take a
ago.
break.
Yeah. Yep. And the water that from 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
What do you have coming up this winter? What are you going to be up to?
Well, it's gonna be winter at home in Idaho, so some skiing and fat biking.
Mhm.
But I think that like with this, with the ACT ending the way it just did, I'm trying to figure out like, well, is there something else I should want to do to like use the fitness
With
I
your
have?
fitness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I do actually like lose. It's hard to maintain like the same cycling fitness through the winter for me. And so I've been thinking about like, what should the spring look like? And I think I want to come down here and like do some bike packing and actually have more time on my bike this winter.
Cool.
But yeah, maybe AZT in the spring. which
Yeah.
is, like,
Do
still
you
winter for me.
feel like, do you feel motivated to do that?
I do if the trail improves.
Yeah.
Which I think that it will. The ATA is pretty amazing at working on things.
Yeah.
So I feel motivated for that. But I think that, and that's the other thing that's interesting is like, what's motivating to go back to a route, you know? And like, I think I'm at a point with the AZT where like, what's motivating for me to go back and just is to see if I can break my record.
Because you've ridden it a lot.
Because I have ridden it a lot.
Because I was like, oh, maybe we should just go tour it and check out the trail conditions. But then I'm like, well, do you really want to tour it if you've already ridden it so many times?
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
I could tour it and just tell you. That way you don't have to do it.
I mean, I think touring a route I've ridden is fun when it's like fun because of the people I'm with, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but like racing a route that I've raced before and had really amazing rides on, when that's not possible, like that's not as inspiring. So like if I could come back and like have good conditions, like
Crush it.
to have a really fast ride and like do my best, then I'd be excited for that.
Cool. Yeah.
But
I'll try to do some recon
for
you just to see how it is. Because I feel that too. It's like, I don't know, like something like the Great Divide. I'm like, I don't want to just go tour that. I've done it like 4 times. You know, it's like I want the record.
Right. And so you're probably not going to race it if there's like major detours or like for whatever reason.
What is your goal with the 300?
Like time wise?
Do you have one? I mean, like 45 hours?
I was thinking 48.
48.
I think that
killer
is possible.
Yeah.
There's a new edition though that adds an hour. I still think it's possible.
Is that up Lemon?
No, it's up. So it's kind of ridiculous. From Parker Canyon Lake, you turn and go the other direction and go and do the Sunnyside Canyon section of AZT, and then you come back through Parker Canyon Lake and then start. It's actually a really fun trail.
It is.
Yeah. It's just a little contrived because you start and ride south and then turn around and then ride north and go back through the start.
Yeah.
So the aesthetic of like point to point isn't quite the same. But
has anybody set a fast time with that edition?
Not that I know of, no. But it only adds an hour. And so I think that even with that, and so it adds an hour, but then since when I set the record, there are other course changes that make it faster. So like the Canillas have been rerouted in a section early on that make it faster. The new section that we ride that cuts off Patagonia and then cuts off Sonoyta, that's a lot faster. And there's somewhere else that's supposedly faster. I don't remember.
It is always weird though with like records in mind and then trails change.
Yeah,
and
totally.
You're like, is it a fair comparison?
Right.
I guess.
Totally.
But I mean, like a trail like the Arizona Trail, it's like over time, hopefully it does get more like packed in and the conditions improve.
Yeah.
But I guess that's just, you can't that's history, right?
Right.
Everything's going to be different.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just amazed too that I thought, I know there was a huge fire near Picket Post and then the trail's back. Yeah.
So I went and rode up there 2 days ago because wanted to pick up Kurt and I was really wanting to see that whole Picket Post area after the fire. And it's crazy because you can see like burned saguaros.
Yeah.
And like all these burned cactus and like it's just wild looking. And then there are sections where you can see like the hill is black, but there's all this like first generation regrowth, and it's all grass and like this little weedy thing. And it just makes it look so different.
Huh.
And I need to do some more research on this, but I feel like the grass isn't necessarily supposed to be there in the same way.
Huh. Oh, that's such a
Because
beautiful
then that would
stretch.
be more, that might lead to it being like more prone to fires in the future.
Huh.
But it's still beautiful.
Yeah.
And that section of trail is actually in really good shape.
Cool.
So
Yeah, after it burned, I was just like, oh, it might be gone forever.
I
That's kind of
know.
the feeling I
Yeah,
had.
I had
like,
that feeling too.
I was like, oh, and I wanted to like ride it this year and I
Yeah.
never did. What an idiot, you know?
Yeah, it's still there. And it's
Okay.
still overall amazing. And it's interesting because like that was the edge of the fire. And so there were sections that didn't burn. And there was just like little spots and like fingers of fire that went up around there. So
Okay.
it's not like riding through this like crazy burned
Burn.
landscape that you'd
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah.
I think because it wasn't a forest, you know, so like it's like it was like a grass brush fire. And so it like moved maybe in different ways.
Huh. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
So-
I would be up for starting a time trial with you
Cool.
in, late March, early April.
I think that'd be amazing.
But I want to go for the full.
Yes.
300.
That would be
course.
so exciting to watch.
Yeah. It will.
You would fly.
So hard. But
Yeah,
at
but
least
it's
I
like
have a
up your
lighter,
alley.
faster bike. you
Yeah.
know. Yeah, and it's also like it's like unfinished business.
Totally. Well, it's the mix of like, I mean, you rode the Arizona Trail so fast, the 300, and then there'd be a lot of also like the zoning out road.
Yeah.
So it'd be a good, I think it'd be a cool mix for you.
Yeah.
And then moving on your feet. Cross Grand Canyon.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny
Yeah.
to like look forward to that.
Totally.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
But I
cool.
don't think I
Yeah.
have any other rapid fire questions.
Oh, let me do some for you.
Okay.
Cake or ice cream?
Ice cream.
Okay. Me too.
Okay. That makes
Hot,
up for the
hot or
pet thing.
cold?
Oh, cold.
For everything? Temperature?
I think I'm scarred after the heat this weekend. Right now,
Yeah,
I'm like,
you're ready for cold.
That's what I'm adapting to right now.
Okay. Let's see. Tomato or potato?
Sweet potato.
Really? What else is there? Whiskey or wine?
Whiskey.
Yeah. Soda water or still?
What?
Soda water or still water?
That sounds like a very European. Still.
Still?
Yeah.
Trains or cars?
Cars. Oh. Yeah.
E-bike or moped?
Oh, I've never ridden a moped, but I think I'd try a moped first.
Really?
I've never ridden an e-bike
Oh
either.
God, I should have brought one over.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, actually we just got this hardtail e-bike and I want to do like a trail angel project with it where we drop stuff off at the hiker boxes on the AZT.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Yeah, because you
Yeah.
can put like a rack on it
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then
cool.
like put like, a case of Cokes or something.
Yeah.
And then just put them in the caches.
All right. That'd be amazing.
But yeah, e-bikes are sensitive topic.
They are.
But I've never seen somebody ride one and not have a big grin on their face.
Totally. And like the number of people commuting on their bikes instead of cars seem to be really increasing,
Yeah.
which is good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool.
Those are fun. Thanks, Lil.
Thank you.